I don't know how to feel about my husband's best friend having feelings for him. My husband went over to his friend's house on Sunday to have a beer. When he came home he seemed off and like he was stressed. When I asked him what was wrong, he said his friend just told him he's in love with him. I actually thought he was joking around and he insisted he was serious. I saw how bothered he was by this and I asked him how it all came out. So he said they were having a beer and watching TV. Another friend from our group was there but he ended up leaving early so it was just them. His friend said he had something to tell him and he admitted he's had these secret feelings for him for almost a whole decade. Basically since the beginning of their friendship when it was a small crush at first. And that he always had this secret wish that my husband would have feelings for him too, and if there is even a slight chance my husband might want to be with him, he was willing to take that chance no matter what the consequences. His friend said he wants to see where their relationship can go if my husband is interested. Basically saying if my husband wanted to end our 8-year marriage and destroy our family's lives to be with him, he'd be absolutely okay with that. My husband said he was taken back by what he said. Yes, we have known that his best friend is bisexual. He told everyone years ago but neither of us ever thought he had feelings for my husband. My husband said he's very confused now because if he's harbored these feelings for so long even after we've gotten married and had our family then they likely won't go away for a while, which will make him feel very weird if they interact after this. Obviously he doesn't have feelings for his friend and he says he feels bad that this could very well change their friendship. I hate to say it but I at the same time feel a little insulted. Not about him having romantic feelings for my husband because I know sometimes we have no control over who we fall for, but that he put my husband in a tough spot and also that he would have been willing to hurt me if it meant getting to be with my husband. This is someone I considered family and has been in our lives and my kids' lives for years. He knows something like this would devastate and hurt us deeply. I don't know, maybe it's selfish to feel this way but I can't help it, that he would be fine with splitting up our family. My husband agrees and he doesn't know why his friend felt this was the time to tell him when we've been married for years and have 2 kids, so obviously he would have feelings for him. Neither of us know how to proceed with this new information. My husband feels a little uncomfortable and confused with all of this, also said their friendship won't be like before. Update: I know it's only been a few hours but I wanted to update on what's going on as of right now. My husband came home from work earlier and told me that Steve, best friend, had sent him a text in the morning asking if he wanted to grab lunch. According to Steve, he was worried he hadn't heard from my husband in days and wanted to know if they could meet up. So my husband decided to respond by telling him everything that he's been feeling. He told Steve what he said on Sunday has been bothering him a lot. My husband said while he can't imagine what Steve must have been feeling all those years keeping that bottled up, he didn't think it was right to tell him all this now and feels like he disrespected our marriage by suggesting he leaves me and our family to pursue a relationship with him. This was all too much thrown at him and he was confused as to why Steve thought he should tell him when he never gave him any indication that the feelings were mutual. My husband told him he thinks it's best if they keep a distance for a while until he decides if the friendship is salvageable at this point. No response yet from Steve. We did talk about this some more and my husband admitted he doesn't think he'll be comfortable continuing this friendship with him. He will always feel like he has to be careful around Steve and his feelings, and like some of you said, it will keep Steve from being able to properly move on if he's still in our lives. Nothing is set in stone yet. This is all still fresh and I haven't even decided if I want to talk to Steve at all about this or keep my distance from him. Everything else my husband told him is exactly how I was feeling, so I don't know what else I can say. My husband seems to have made up his mind about not continuing this friendship even if he admits he feels guilty. We're still giving it some time. That's where we're at right now. Thank you everyone who's commented so far. I haven't had the time to read most of them but your input is very much appreciated. I will try to read some when I have the time. Wow, that's insanely disrespectful and selfish of his friend. Of course you and your husband are upset. I think it might be time to consider letting that friend go. He said he was willing to take his chance no matter the consequences. Seems pretty clear that he knew that this would ruin the friendship if your husband didn't reciprocate, so that's the consequence. Time to end the friendship. Sounds like he's not your friend anymore. Cut the cord. Wow, how utterly disrespectful of his friend. I totally understand why you are hurt. That is awful that he tried to tear your family apart. I think you should react the exact way you'd react if the friend in question was another woman, which would probably be to yeet her out of your lives immediately. It makes me very sad to think about. He's been such a close friend of ours for years, but honestly I would not feel comfortable being around him after this, knowing he would be so willing to put our family through that. My husband is feeling the same way and a whole lot more with this new revelation. I know it's taking a toll on him. Does it kill the moment to ask a boy to wash his hands before touching you? I've, F/26, always been really mindful about having my partners be clean and to wash their hands before fingering me, even before the COVID craze. Women are very susceptible to urinary tract infections and yeast infections and other annoying crap. How do men feel about having to always wash their hands before messing around? Is that a turn off? Is it something that makes sense and you'd be willing to do without a problem if a woman asked? I currently have a partner, M/28, and we haven't quite gotten there yet, but I'm a bit nervous to stop him in his tracks and ask him to go wash his hands. Maybe in the future, once he's already touched me, it'll be easier because I can just ask him to wash before coming to bed, but I still want to know how guys feel about it in general. I always ask smile. Can't speak for everyone, but it wouldn't bother me at all. Doesn't hurt to take 30 seconds for some precaution. I'm really prone to UTIs, so whenever I initiate, I ask my BF to wash his hands. Sometimes he forgets to wash his hands before preparing food. I remind him, he gets horny. I think I accidentally conditioned him to expect sex when asked to wash his hands. It means the difference between her being in the mood or killing the mood. I'll scrub myself from head to toe in record time. However, the way she communicates it can make a difference. If she acts a little disgusted or turn off when I'm asked to wash up, then my confidence would take a hit. For real, it can be a sexy thing, like I'll go slip into something more comfortable. You go wash up, we'll meet in bed. Damn, my wife never asks me, but now this has me thinking I should do it. Dude, no. My husband always washes his hands, makes sure nails are scrubbed clean. Please, please, wash your hands. I saw my husband flirt and he said I was just being jealous. We were at a small gathering and I looked over to my husband talking with his coworker who is a woman, and I notice he grabs her chin. I was immediately concerned about that. Then a little bit later I notice him just grabbing her hair. I was upset, and on the way home he asks me why I look so sad. Tell him I'm tired and now it's morning. He asks me what's wrong and I told him what I saw last night and that I'm uncomfortable by it and that I consider it flirting. He starts by telling me, you are so jealous, I can never do anything with a girl, and it's not flirting! Exclamation mark. I told him I believe it is, and this is how I'm feeling about it. He continues to say, oh man, you're so jealous, what are we going to do? Now we haven't talked. I know this isn't a huge deal, but I don't want these little actions to be bigger things later on. I personally think it's not okay for a husband to go and just touch other woman like that. Yes, I can be a bit overprotective. How can I tell him I'm not okay with it? And what do I say when he tells me I'm just jealous, and dismisses me? Edit, thank you for the hug. Very much needed. Edit, we talked it out until about 2:30 AM. He didn't see it as flirting but just being friendly, and he understands that's a boundary. He's going to no longer touch or be too friendly with women. He's not one to usually gaslight me, but when I mentioned it that morning I did come off harsh and he didn't know how to react at that moment. He does agree he did not react the right way and apologized. Ultimately, this post gave me the confidence to even start the conversation and the strength to speak up even more. Thank you all. He's clearly flirting and being a fucking dick. I'm sorry, but if a male coworker I was friends with grabbed my face, I wouldn't react very nicely. We'd both be in trouble with HR because I decked him on the spot. He was flirting, and it seems like he wanted this reaction for some reason. Ask him if he touches his male co-workers the same way. Exactly. Also, if the co-worker had happened to have had a boyfriend present, would he still have touched her face? Probably not. I'd personally find that flirting too. Touching hair and chin is intimate, it's not something you do with workmates. I can't advise you what to do because your marriage is yours. Just wanted to say you're not imagining it. Thank you for letting me know I'm not imagining it. Usually it's hard for me to say what I feel, and I told him and I feel so disrespected. That's definitely inappropriate. I worked with the same group of men for 5 years and never would have touched their face or hair. Even if they had something in their face, I'd tell them without touching them. The fact that he's putting the blame and anger on you is a huge red flag. Get your things together and prepare for divorce. Don't threaten him with divorce or anything else. Don't stay with him unless he admits he understands it was wrong and he wants to change.